Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another Injustice Gods Among Us 1 video. And this video we get in the top 5% for the Astro Harness season. The top 5% starts at 315,205. So 16,149 people will be acquiring this gear item. Now there is about 30 seconds before the season actually finishes up. And we're going to see if anybody actually got a couple points there. So 315,370 is the cutoff, and 16,150 people are getting that gear item. So we're going to be refreshing. A new season has started. Your rewards for the previous season are being calculated and will be issued soon. And for anybody curious, in DC Legends, my alliance is HollywoodShono YouTube. Not that I actively play that game 12 hours a day, but if you're interested in that game, feel free to join up. So, in the previous season, we get in the top 5%, and we get the Astral Force, which is the name of the gear item before you upgrade it, Mark of the Tiger, Blue Ring Disruptor Gun, and 100,000 credits. Alright, so with that said, in the next season, it is the Riddler's Cane, so this will be a week I probably don't play Injustice 1, so this will be the last Injustice video I do for a week, unless the challenge is interesting. So we're going to go into our gear, and we're going to look at the brand new Astro Harness and see how it upgrades. We might have to shatter some of our duplicate gear, as we only have about 152 red, and it looks like we need all of the other stuff for it. So let's shatter some gear. We need some red shards. So let's go to number owned, obviously. We got 42 martial arts, 35 infernal symbols. Now, the optimal way to actually get shards is obviously shatter maxed out gear. So we have power gloves, and you can see the bonus you get. So we're going to shatter all 20 of the power gloves, leaving our 1, and we should have enough shards to max this gear amount. I believe we need about 400, so we might have to go shatter some more gear. Now, I have been choosing not to shatter gear that is not maxed out, and it costs like 375,000 credits to max out any sort of gear. So I've been choosing not to do that, so we'll probably shatter something else, because I really want to do all the upgrades within one thing. So we'll get some red shards from these power gloves and whatnot. So it is definitely worth it, as we got 11 red shards there to actually max out gear if you can afford to before you shatter it. And you can get a lot of gear just from playing Survivor. You can also get gear from playing online, but you can also get gear from gear lockers. And I think one of the ways that they could update Injustice Gods Among Us is by adding more regular gear. That would be kind of cool, but obviously we'd like to see more characters. So we have the blue ring, which does not give red shards at all. We have the alien weaponry that also gives red shards. We want to shatter the other 10 that we have. And that should get us all the shards we needed. We're almost at 400. So we're at 403 shards, 405. Alright, and now we're at 443 shards, so we'll take that. So now we're going to go into our new gear item. And we're going to go right here to the Astral Force. So at the level 1, on any special attack, applies electric dot, dealing 5% of special damage for 5 seconds. So if a special move does 100,000 damage, the damage is going to do 5,000 a second, so it's going to tick for like 1,000. It's not as strong as the Ibistic, but for a character like Rebirth Raven that you don't want power generation on, this gear item is actually pretty good. Now, on a character like Regime Cyborg that generates a lot of power, you can have both. We'll also try and test out these synergies, because this could actually be a double dot item. And you could even get 3 dot effects, which of course the LexCorp helmet having crit damage is probably just as strong as a 10% dot damage item. So on lethal hit, there is a 50% chance to trigger power shield that will absorb damage up to so much of max health, and invulnerability for so many seconds. I believe it's going to work like the Batmobile at 5 seconds. So all the gear shards you need, red, blue, and green, and then you get purple. So we're going to start fusing it up. So the damage goes up 0.3%, and the lethal goes up 1.2%. So it looks like about 10% of the special damage and 75% chance to trigger a shield. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long the shield lasts. We'll do some testing on that. So we're going to upgrade the gear over time. So it does look like 0.5% per upgrade. So it's going to be, could even be 15% of special damage. Going to be interesting. So you guys can see how much it's costing to upgrade. We're at 2 million credits. I have not bought anything with this. I even farmed a couple challenges and didn't have to pay, so that's good. Alright, so at plus 10, the gear item is at 7.5% of special damage. On lethal hit, 62.5%, which does prove the 75%. And the invulnerability should go up 0.2 seconds of rank. We'll have to see. There's the Astro Harness Evolved, as it was a different name, so now it is 1% invulnerability. So I'm not sure why it's showing that. Maybe it just can't go that, but it is 0.2 seconds an upgrade. Now the other thing I'm curious about is if you knock somebody out, does the special damage carry over? As we found out with the Ibis-Stick a couple updates ago, the damage does not carry over. Same thing with Deathstroke's Bleed. So this is the gear item maxed out. We barely had enough red shards, 2 to go. And the gear item is maxed out, so 10% of special damage, just like the Ibis-Stick. However, that is of maximum health. So overkill damage, if it carries over to the second opponent, might actually be stronger than the Ibis-Stick. But otherwise, the Ibis-Stick is still going to do more damage. This is more of a defensive gear item, whereas the Ibis-Stick is offensive. On lethal hit, you have a 75% chance to trigger a power shield that will absorb damage up to 40% of max health. Obviously, if you're running LexCorp helmet and Scarecrow mask, you have a lot of defensive gear, but you're not going to do much damage. And invulnerability for 5 seconds at health thresholds 100%, 50%, and 10%. Alright, so let's do a couple battles and test this out. So let's go into bonus battle 6. And let's try to test out the synergy first with both the Ibis-Stick and the Astro Harness. And then we'll try to test out synergy. And I also wonder if it has synergy with Red Lantern Hal Jordan. I'm actually curious about that. So let's actually throw the Astro Harness on Red Lantern Hal Jordan. We'll run this first test with that. And we'll see how it works with his ability. Because it does give you a shield. I want to see if it steals health or not. Because this could be the difference between more super moves or nothing. So let's get in Arkham Knight Batman, who can just obliterate people quickly. Let's throw the Astro Harness. And let's throw in John Stewart Green Lantern along with Arkham Knight Batman. So let's throw in this team.
Green Lantern.
So Red Lantern Hal Jordan was going to have the Astro Harness. And let's throw on double fourth world so he can revive as well.
Batman.
So Arkham Knight Batman will just throw offensive gear. This is going to be a test to show off the invulnerability with Red Lantern Hal Jordan and how it actually works.
Batman.
Alright, so in the fourth matchup of Bonus Battle 6, we have Sheikh Ahmed Habibi, Regime Doomsday, and a mystery opponent. So you should have invulnerability at the start of the match.
Begin.
There it is. So there's the invulnerable. And now we'll see if this takes health away. So if that's the case, Red Lantern Hal Jordan's passive does not protect against that, obviously, because you would just get ridiculous amount of return. So there's the first shield. So now let's trigger the second one. I believe we're just short of 50% health. Alright, so you see 44 damage a second. Now let's do another one. So the damage is 2231. And there you see the dot, 44. So it's obviously not as strong as the Ibis-Stick. So let's get in Arkham Knight Batman and let's not try to kill Black Adam. So that's blocked. That's actually good. Although he tagged out, so that part is not. So we could test it on Doomsday. We just have to hope he's blocking it. So we can test out the dot effects on both. That's a lot of damage, though. So he gets skull fucked. Arkham Knight Batman just does way too much damage for the dot test. 3,853 XP, 4,760 credits. So as you can see there, the Astro Harness does not protect Red Lantern Hal Jordan from super move damage. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put both the Astro Harness and the Ibis-Stick. And we're also going to throw on the LexCorp helmet, and we're going to do some dot tests with all 3 dot items. So, in the second test fight, we have Regime Wonder Woman, Prison Superman, and Insurgency Batman.
Begin.
Alright, so we're going to go off the special. There's the invulnerability. It still takes health away. So you can see the Ibis Stick doing 1212. The Astro Harness doing 51 damage. The Astro Harness is not a friendly gear item for low-level players. Obviously, for maxed-out players, the Astro Harness is going to get a lot of value. And you can see the 1212 is from the Ibis Stick. The 363 is from the LexCorp helmet because it is maximum health. So while he is able to do a lot of damage, he's not able to really survive that. So there's the emergency barrier from John Stewart Green Lantern. And he gets knocked out. So as you can see, the emergency barrier does not protect Red Lantern Hal Jordan from that either. And the Astro Harness will not trigger if you hit below a certain threshold, as Red Lantern Hal Jordan did not hit 10%. So those batterings will wipe out Wonder Woman. There's the super health. And look at the damage. Arkham Knight Batman just too strong. 3,088 XP, 4,830 credits. Alright, so we completed that battle. Now, we're going to go back into bonus battle 6. We're going to put Arkham Knight Batman in first.
Batman.
So we have the League of Assassins Adeptized. We don't need that. We have the Astro Harness. Let's put on the Fourth World Godly Mace. And let us put on a gear item that does damage on Special 2 for our next test. And then we'll try to run an Arkham Assault with dot damage as well. Or some other move that uses the Astro Harness. Now, I'm really curious to see if overkill damage will hit onto another opponent. The Ibis Stick currently does not. So hopefully we can get off a Special 2. Let's find Aquaman's gear item. We have not upgraded that, and that will give Special 2 damage. Alright, so in our third test fight, we have Arkham Knight Batman, Red Lantern Hal Jordan, and let's get rid of John Stewart Green Lantern. Let's throw in Regime Aquaman. Let's throw in Aquaman, just so we don't get power drained. So we want to do an Arkham Assault at the start of the match unless the opponent does as well. There's the Arkham Assault. If this knocks out Arkham Knight Batman, and it does. So the Astro Harness will carry over, but you can see that even with the Arkham Assault, it's only ticking for 467. So nothing super impressive. And let's get off that shot. That's going to do a little bit of damage. So we're going to get off the Battering. Hopefully this knocks him out. Yes, it does. So that is hitting for 514. So it looks like overkill damage is also not affected with the Astro Harness. Kind of like with certain other effects, you're not going to get the damage. So the Astro Harness right there, as you see, was ticking away for about 4 to 500. 2,553 XP, 1,950 credits. So now let's do that same mirror match, but instead of using the Astro Harness, we're going to throw in Red Sun Wonder Woman just by herself. And we're going to use both the Ibis Stick and the Astro Harness just as a comparison. We're not going to use the League of Assassins Adeptized, but we're going to use another source of power generation. Let's use Clark Kent's glasses. So we're going to be focusing on special ones and hopefully some dot damage. So we have Red Sun Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Regime Aquaman. The hopeful mindset is that we don't knock out Wonder Woman too early. And there's the invulnerability. Can you gain power while invulnerable? Yes, you can. So you definitely want the opponent to hit you in single player. So there's a good test. The Ibis Stick is doing 923, and the Astro Harness is doing 553. So you can see the Ibis Stick is a superior gear item because it is going to do more damage. As you can see right here, 970 and 554, and the opponent obviously tags out. Now, you could have another layer of dots with Arkham Knight Catwoman, but while people run the Ibis Stick, and there's the 50% threshold, so you do gain power while invulnerable, and certain effects will not work when invulnerable. One shot's going to hit on Aquaman. This will be a test as well. So that hits for 13,372, and you can see the Ibis Stick doing way more damage. So while the Astro Harness is a new gear item, and I don't even think we've seen a shield on knockout. Have you guys? I don't believe so. So there's the shield toss.
Kneel before the king.
Wonder Woman bleeding out, and down goes Aquaman. So you can see right there the Image Stick is still way better than the Astro Harness. While you do get defensive abilities having somebody in first, the Astro Harness is best used in multiplayer in first. Because if somebody uses a Godsmack, for example, or any type of move, you're not going to take any damage. It also gives you great protection against Arkham Origins Batman. It'll also give you protection against Arkham Knight Batman. So if you're running the Astro Harness, these three characters are going to be super annoying. And anybody running Batgirl is also going to be annoying because they'll start with 1 to 2 bars of power. So the Astro Harness is great in multiplayer at the start of the match. And the reason I shifted Green Lantern on the Red Sun team from first until third, as you guys know, I do like to gear up Red Sun Green Lantern defensively with double LexCorp and the Scarecrow mask. And the reason for that is because the Scarecrow ventilator mask is an extra layer of damage absorption. So we're going to run this test with Arkham Origins Batman. However, we're going to throw on the Astro Harness instead of the LexCorp chest plate. And we are going to see how the invulnerability works with Arkham Origins Batman. We're also going to throw Batgirl on the team as well, just so we gain a little bit of power as well. So we're going to load up Arkham Origins Batman with just straight basic damage gear. We're also going to throw Batgirl on the team, and we're going to see how the mirror match plays out. Hopefully the opponent does a special while the Astro Harness is available, and we'll see how it performs with that. Now, obviously, you do have Injustice 2 Superman that also works with a layer of annoyance, but if you don't have him around or you don't want to save him for later, I mean, obviously with Injustice 2 Superman, you probably don't need the invulnerability at all, although it does protect against basic damage. So, is this at the start of the match? Invulnerability for 5 seconds, so we should be able to tag in, and the effect should happen as well. Let's see how that works. So immediately we're going to tag into Green Lantern. And there's the invulnerability. So let's see if he does a special. Yes, he does. And it wore off right when it did. So it might be reliable, it might not be. Obviously the invulnerability does work. I was hoping that Batman would not trigger that. So now we'd have to get to 50% health for the next one. So we're going to take a little bit of damage here on purpose. Now, it's going to be interesting also seeing if thresholds will protect you from damage if you fall under a certain amount. Yes, it does. So if you hit a multi-hit special, the invulnerability will trigger and it will protect you from damage. So a Winged Avenger that puts you under 50% health can block out a lot of damage, and that's a really good test. And it did block out a special completely there, so yes, it does work like that. So the Astro Harness is a good defensive gear. Is it as good defensively as having the LexCorp chest plate to heal and the LexCorp helmet? You would have to not run the Scarecrow mask, and I think the Scarecrow mask is better than the Astro Harness defensively because you have block protection, and you're just going to take less damage when blocking. Also, the Reflect mechanic can just kill an Ares, even though you're going to get the unblockable mechanic. However, if you have somebody else with the Astro Harness to protect against Ares, like say you're running Astro Harness on somebody else and you're running the Scarecrow mask, then you have decent block protection against another person doing a special on you. So, as an example, I don't think we can get Ares to 2 bars, but let's see if we could get Ares in off the tag. So let's have Ares in second along with Batgirl. We could start with Arkham Origins Batman as well. So instead of that gear, we're going to throw on the LexCorp helmet. Let's just throw on all the blocking gear, and we'll throw the Soul Taker sword on Ares. Or the Astro Harness on Ares. Let's just throw Rasho Ghouls, and let's throw on Blade of the War Guy. And Batgirl will leave that gear alone. So the plan is we want Ares to do a Godsmack. Or we could have Ares take the Godsmack and see if he gets invulnerable from it. But the 5 seconds of invulnerability is really good because it is block breaker protection. So there is that. So we want Ares to get to 2 bars before we do some damage to Batman. We want to take a Godsmack. So we don't want to do too much damage to Arkham Origins Batman. We want to get to 2 bars. There he is. So we're going to take a Winged Avenger, and we're going to block. That doesn't knock him out. There's Batgirl. That's not who we want in. There's a Redemption. That doesn't take much damage. Alright, so there's Batman. Explosive Batman. That's going to knock him out. Alright, so there's Ares. I want him to hopefully do a Godsmack. There it is. So that gets blocked. Now with the block breaker, blocking disabled, that obviously leaves him invulnerable. And let's see if we can get off a special. Obviously the block breaker goes away. So while you probably would have protection from a move, obviously if you're unable to block, that doesn't work. But I could see some synergy with Ares taking a Godsmack and then tagging in, avoiding invulnerability after you just kill him. So you could use that. And I'm also curious if it does protect you against super moves. So that's one final test we're going to do. We're going to do the mirror match. And we're going to throw the killing... Well, you can't get super moved in single player. So we could go online with the same team. And hopefully we can get a Killing Joke Joker. I don't know if we can actually do that. So that would be the dream. So let's throw in Ares. Throw in Batgirl. And... I believe we were using Red Sun Green Lantern. And he's on the team, so yeah, he's out of energy. Let's throw in... Let's throw in Injustice 2 Superman. So,
Superman.
Obviously Injustice 2 Superman is a really powerful card because he can block out specials. So having the Astro Harness on him would actually give him double layers of protection. So we're going to put the Astro Harness on him. And let's throw double LexCorp on him. This is a really annoying defensive setup. So we have Ares. I would love to run into a Killing Joke Joker. And I want to see if the Astro Harness can protect against super moves. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to get that off. But we can try. So we're going to do a single fight. I would love to see a Killing Joke Joker, but highly doubt we're going to get one. So we have Batgirl, Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight, and animated Harley Quinn. So let's start off by getting a Godsmack right at the beginning of the match. That almost wipes out. So you can see the invulnerability will protect against Kryptonian Fortitude. So while you're invulnerable, the Kryptonian Fortitude will not trigger. But yeah, as you can see, the Astro Harness is definitely not better than the Ibis Stick at dot damage. But you got to see it in action, and it's pretty cool. So now we're going to go off the Art of Deception. That's going to annihilate Batgirl. 109,000 damage, easy victory in that test fight. So we did learn quite a bit from the Astro Harness. The dot damage is significantly worse than the Ibis Stick. We also learned that the Kryptonian Fortitude will not trigger if you take a special while invulnerability is up. So that's some good information. And also, if you're taking multi-hit moves, when you hit the health thresholds of 50 and 10%, you will block out all damage, just like the emergency barrier. So, while John Stewart Green Lantern is not a good card, it does give you protection at 20%, and if somehow you go under 10% health, well, you have some annoyances, and you might see some John Stewart Green Lanterns on the ladder if you're running Astro Harness, but it's going to be interesting. Still, you want to position your two-piece LexCorp and Scarecrow Mask in the first slot to protect against Astro Harness or people running Arkham Knight, Batman's, Batgirls, and whatever else starts at 2 bars. So if you like this review on how good is the Astro Harness and how to use it, please give this video a like rating. comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other Injustice Gods Among Us videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono, and have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!